So, how many times have you been frustrated by trying to follow somebody else's tutorial on YouTube and turn it into a functioning automation, either in Claude or Cursor or N8N or Make.com? What I'm doing is I'm now shortcutting that process by using the actual video transcripts. So, I'll give you an example. This was a great video from Darren Venner in which he shows us how he's using Claude Code, and in this case, he's using VS Code. I use Cursor to actually manage his calendar. What I've been doing is I used to copy and paste the transcript from YouTube, but great news, because I have Apify. Apify is a really cool tool. It has a number of different actors that you can choose from. In this case, I'm using the YouTube Transcript Scraper. And the YouTube Transcript Scraper does exactly what it sounds like, and it grabs the entire transcript from a video that you can then use within Claude Code. So what does that look like? You start the process by entering the YouTube URL. So in your input, the URL to the video itself. This is a playlist that I did. I've actually built it so that I have a separate actor that I created for me that uses both a title scraper that pulls the content from playlists and then the transcript scraper. And so it gets me all of the transcripts for a given playlist, which is really cool. I've used it when I'm trying to research like a podcast that I'm interested in maybe getting on. But this is what the output looks like. So this is that video from YouTube, and you can see it's finished. This is the output, and you can see the output in table form, in which it's not very useful, or you can see it in JSON, which is what I like to do it in. And then once you're sure that you've got the right thing, you can just export it to your local computer as a JSON file. JSON's cool because it's basically a text version of a data set, and it's very easy for Claude to read. So now here's the actual content of that JSON file, and you can see it's got all of the steps that he's taking. And so then what I will do is I will go to Claude and I will ask Claude to use that JSON file to walk me through the process. Now, what's really interesting is that originally, when I started doing this, and I was doing it particularly for N8N automations, it would tell me, pick this module and put it here, right? And so some of my better N8N flows were built in that way. But now what's happening is it's actually outputting the JSON roadmap that you then import into N8N, which is just like stupid easy. So I highly recommend this tactic to get Claude to help you work through some of those different things that you might want to do. And it works for N8N, it works for Make.com. So this is a workflow that I worked on with Claude, in which I wanted to watch my email for emails that came from Peter Shankman's source of sources, the replacement for Haro, and parse those and then figure out whether or not they were relevant to me. And so Claude walked me 100% through this process. So what it does is it reads my email, it sees if it's from source of sources, it then parses it, and then the final step is it creates a draft in my outbox with a really bad email, which I'm going to fix, and then it sends me a message in Slack to say, "Hey, this is here. Go see if you want to respond to it." So this whole process was done entirely using Claude Code, and I didn't create the workflow in N8N. Claude Code output the workflow, and I just went over here and I chose to import from a file, and it updated everything for me. So it's just brilliant. So back to the example, this is Darren talking about his productivity tool, and who doesn't want to be more productive? I certainly do. I'm prone to following the interesting thread during the day, and so what I did is I used my handy dandy YouTube transcript scraper, and I pulled in the transcript from Darren's video, and it then brought in this whole JSON, which I transferred to a file. And then I walked through and iterated in Claude Code. And I did this in Cursor just because it's easier to keep things together in Cursor. And so it created everything for me. So now in Cursor, having walked through this process, I have my daily roadmaps, which are all of the days on which I've done this. Apparently, I started doing this on the 18th. And here's today, which today is December 1st, 2025. And I ran my prompt, which is plan day. So this is a command that we set up when we were building this. And you'll see I have plan day. And then I also have assess day. So at the end of the day, I go through and I assess day, see how many of the things I got done. And then over here, this is the output. I'm viewing it in preview, but it's really a markdown file. And so you can see it says that I've got 6 meetings scheduled. I have 3 hours for deep work. My protected block, which is 8 to 1 each day, has been invaded. And it's because I get to record a session for PubCon Cyber Week. And also, we are flying to Boston to go attend the MEMS conference. So that's how simple it is. You run the actor, you get the transcript, you then take that transcript into Claude Code and you say, hey, help me recreate this. And it'll walk you through what you need to do. And if you're too lazy even for that, I want to share with you that I have actually made available my version of it, which may not suit you because it includes things like social media posting and that kind of stuff. My version of it is available on GitHub in my account. So on GitHub, I'm Will Scott-V2 because Will Scott is like the 7th most common name pairing in the English language. And I like to think of this as the second act of my career. And so go check it out. If you like it, let me know. Happy to share as I learn with all of y'all.